Welcome again. Today's video we're going to be going over another machine from Cyberseclabs. The machine name is outdated. That's the machine name, and definitely it is outdated. Actually, it is outdated. The name refers to the FTP server, which we're gonna exploit today. So basically, it's Linux machine, and it revolves around the ability to use a manual exploitation right for FTP servers. So after the nmap scan, we see a couple of open ports. We have 21 for FTP, 22 for SSH, and 111 for the RPC, which means that we have NFS file shares. So we may try show mounts and mount all of these shares. But before doing that, we're going to do that, but I'm walking you through the methodology here. So before trying with that, I prefer going with one of these guys. So we have the FTP, right? That's the main vector of these channels. So Pro FTPD, the first thing we do, we haven't got so much info about if it allows anonymous access or not. And we may try to log in anonymously, but I haven't tried that. So here, let's find an exploit for that version. So search exploit-w, and here the name Pro FTPD 1.3.5. So we have got two exploits, matching exploits. As you can see, the version matches the version of the exploit matches the version of the server, which is very important. So we can try Metasploit, we can try command execution manually, but always my preference, as we are learning, we always go with the hardest stuff. So the hardest stuff is to do that manually, right? In order to learn the process. Now, if you're doing that in real penetration test, of course, save your time and use Metasploit. Now, let me open that in a new window. Let me close all of these tabs. All right. So this is the exploit. Let's first try to understand how the exploit works. So first, we have socket sys. We have a Python exploit. Python 2 specifically. And in here, here the usage of the exploit. So first specify the name, the server, directory, CMD. Now the server is the IP of the target. That is understandable, very explanatory, self-explanatory. Directory is it's a path on our server, right? And as per the comment, it's saying path accessible from web, which means we need to create a directory on our web server, right? And give permissions, read permissions, right, for everyone, or write permissions for everyone to access that. CMD is the command that we are willing to send. So the CMD goes here. So this is the evil, which is the payload. The payload is a PHP payload, as you can see. Now here we put our command. Now this one could be netcut, right? So we can do a netcut here. Then we connect to the server on port 21, and here we display connected to server. Now here goes the work. So first it copies from the content of the password file and pastes that to evil. The evil is the PHP payload. And here it copies the content of another file and pastes that into directory and then info.gen.php, which means that makes me decide or give the decision that this exploit will not work with us. Why? Because as you can see here, it requires the use of HTTP, or it requires a web server being deployed on the testing machine, which is not. We don't have, as per the nmap scanning, if we go back, we see here the nmap scan, there is no port 80 open, right? So the exploit cannot be used as it is in its literate template, or in its actuality, it cannot be used. So here, I thought that we can use a portion of the exploit, which starts from here. Why? So here we can copy files and paste to files, right? All right. So, and if you go back, we saw that we have an NFS file share, right? So if we copy all the content of the password file, and if we copy the SSH key of the currently logged in user to the NFS file shares, and then we mount the shares, it's going to be very smart, right? We're going to have the SSH key mounted locally on our system, and then we log in. Let's do that. So for that, let me collapse that terminal. So here I did the mount, so you can type show mount -e, and you type the IP address of the machine. The IP is, let me grab the IP. So I put base selection, and as you can see, the the machine has var NFS backups at the share. Now this is the destination directory to which we're gonna copy the files while we are logged in the FTP server, right? Now you need to mount that directory. So how you do that? Sudo mount, specify the type, which is NFS, and IP, the server. This one's gonna be 172.3.1.1.2.2, and then we specify the destination directory on our local system. In our case, it is meant shares. I will not execute that. I did that before. Now you execute on yourself. Yourself. ls. So here we see Robert, Daniel, Anna. So cd Daniel. Nothing in here, right? All right, let's go back. Now let's interact with the FTP server. So nc 22. Oh, no. 1. So now we are logged into the FTP server. My next step now is we need to copy the files, like the password file and the SSH key to into the shares, right? So let's go back and see the exact formula or the exact syntax for the commands. So here, site copy from, site copy from. Let me try that. Okay, so here site copy from, and here site copy to. We specify the destination to be var NFS backups. Why? Because if we copy to that directory, it will be displayed in our local file system since we have mounted the whole file system. So var NFS backups. Is a directory. So you made some mistake here, I guess. Let's do copy to. I will put password. Bad sequence of commands. Oh, we need to do that. We need to start over actually. So we need to copy from. And then site copy to var backups pass. Okay, now let's split the terminal and see if the file has been copied. So vertical cement shares. So, and indeed we got the file. So if you view the content of the file, so this is the content of the password file from the target system. Now I'm not interested in that. Let me clear. Let's now copy the whole directory of the Daniel here. So if we can copy the directory of Daniel, we can grab the SSH key and then log in. So site, copy from home, Daniel, and site, copy to. Then we're gonna copy to var nfs backups, and in there we're gonna copy that to Daniel here. So Daniel, let's go back, cd ls Daniel. So we have something like access.txt, nano access.txt. Ooh, what was that? So this is some key or something. All right, I don't know what is that. So let's list all of everything here. So indeed, we got the SSH keys. Let's cd to that. And here is the private key. Let's give the private key the appropriate permissions, which are 600 ID RSA. Now let's log in with that private key. 172.31.122. Type yes. Oh, it's logging in with my user. I don't want that. Okay. So let's specify Daniel here. All right, so we are logged in now as Daniel. Let me close this instance. Labs. All right, clear. So we are Daniel now, right? Now the next step is to do the privilege escalation. Now before doing any privilege escalation, guys, we need to gather the information, right? You need to enumerate. The first thing we enumerate is the kernel version, or we see the operating system version. Uname -a. So here 3.13.0. Let's find if there is a matching exploit for that. Is it 32? It is 32. So it is overlay fs. And this is the exploit, I guess. I don't know if there is a metasploit for that, but as you know, guys, we don't approach metasploit. All right, so download this. Download. So let's download this then. Download. Save. ls. So the exploit is right here. Now all left is to transfer that to the testing machine. Now we can do that with, let's first go to the directory which has the private key, right? So cd or, all right, so let's do it from here. So we can use SCP to transfer the files securely over SSH. So we can issue SCP here, -I, and then we specify the path to the private file, private key, sorry, Daniel.sh ID RSA. All right, now the next step is we log into Daniel. The IP is 172.31. Oh no, 1.22. So what do we got here? You have some errors. All right. So indeed, we got the exploit here. Now, all left here is to execute that. Let's give it permissions. X, and then let's run it. I hope it's gonna work. The overlayers, pretty much they work. There is no instability in these exploits. ID, and indeed we got the root access here. So the vector or the privilege escalation vector was the exploit, the outdated version of the Linux, right? I know that patching is a practice that is adopted by many organizations. You won't find Linux machine that is too old like that. But the interesting stuff was the exploit. I liked working with the exploit, although we haven't executed the exploit literally, but we were able to find a way in order to leverage the mechanism of how the exploit copies the commands from the FTP, right? And then you copy them, mount the share, and then you get access. So that was it, and see you in the next video.